So, the internet is an increasingly important part of everyday life for people around the world. But if you've never used the internet before, all this new information might feel a bit confusing at first. So, we will try to define the different terminologies used when we use internet or the terms associated with the word internet. So, let's start with what is the internet. So the internet is a global network of billions of computers and other electronic devices. With the internet, it's possible to access almost any information, communicate with anyone else in the world, and do much more. You can do all of this by connecting a computer to the internet, which is called going online. When someone says a computer is online, it's just another way of saying it's connected to the internet. So internet is a global network of physical cables, and these physical cables are examples are the copper telephone wires, the TV cables, and the fiber optic cables. So the Wide Web, usually called the web for short, is a collection of different websites you can access through the internet. A website, on the other hand, is made of related text, images, and other resources. Websites can resemble other forms of media like newspaper, articles, or television programs, or they can be interactive in a way that's unique to computers. The purpose of a website can almost be anything: a news platform, an advertisement, an online library, a forum for sharing images, or an educational site. Once you're connected to the internet, you can access and view websites using a type of application called a web browser. So we have a web browser is an application that accesses and views websites. So just keep in mind that the web browser itself is not the internet. It only displays websites that are stored on the internet. And then we also have this term, the server. Servers are where your websites are stored. So how does the internet work? So according to kindtome.com, there are 6 simplified terms to remember. The first one is finding the URL. The second one is registering the URL. The third one is the domain name systems or the DNS. The fourth one is the IP address. Fifth, the website hosting. And last is propagation. So the first to remember is finding the URL. URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator. So if you need a website, you're going to need the URL. This is the website address that is typed into a browser. You have here an example, https www.google.com. This google.com or this one is the website address. Next is registering a URL. So again, URL stands for Universal Resource Locator. So where do you get a URL? A domain name registrar, this is a registrar. A domain name registrar is a company that allows you to look up the URLs and buy the best available fit. Examples of these URLs are GoDaddy, Google Domains, or Namecheap. Next would be the domain name system or the DNS. So your new URL is now on the domain name system, the Internet's phone book. So this links the URL to your web host IP address. So what is an IP address? An IP address is like a mailing address used to identify the location of your web host. They come in 2 different formats, the IPv4 and the IPv6. Then we have the fifth one is web hosting. A web host has servers that store your website files and database. Your DNS records must point to the host server for people to see your website. Examples of these web hostings are StableHost and Emotion. And the last, according to KindTime, is propagation. A URL that's newly pointed to your host, the website, will need to propagate. Propagation time is roughly 24 to 48 hours it takes for the whole internet to figure out where your domain name points to. Once this is done, you can begin sharing your ideas with the world. Again, internet is a global network of physical cables which can include copper telephone wires, TV cables, and fiber optic cables. Even wireless connections like Wi-Fi and 3G, 4G rely on these physical cables to access the internet. When you visit a website, your computer sends a request over these wires to a server. A server is where websites are stored, and it works a lot like a computer's hard drive. Once the request arrives, the server retrieves the website and sends the correct data back to your computer. So that's how the internet works. Next up is how to connect to the internet. So once you've set up your computer, you may want to purchase home internet access so you can send and receive email, browse the web, stream videos, and more. You may even want to set up a home wireless network, commonly known as Wi-Fi, so you can connect multiple devices to the internet at the same time. So there are types of internet service. So the type of internet service you choose will largely depend on which internet service providers or ISPs serve your area, along with the type of service they offer. So the most common types of internet service, we have the dial-up, the DSL, the cable, satellite, 3G and 4G, and sa karon na ay 5G, but dili pa kayo siya stable sa ato ang place or diri sa Philippines. Let's start with the dial-up. This is generally the slowest type of internet connection, and you should probably avoid it unless it is the only service available in your area. Dial-up internet uses your phone line, so unless you have multiple phone lines, you will not be able to use your landline and the internet at the same time. Again, dial-up is the slowest type of internet connection. Like literally, you have to dial up your phone line before you get connected to the internet. So we also have the DSL or the digital subscriber line. DSL service uses broadband connection, which makes it much faster than dial-up. DSL connects to the internet via a phone line but does not require you to have a landline at home. And unlike dial-up, you'll be able to use the internet and your phone line at the same time. We also have the cable. Cable service connects to the internet via cable TV, although you do not necessarily need to have a cable TV in order to get it. It uses broadband connection and can be faster than both dial-up and DSL service. However, it is only available where cable TV is available. Then we have the satellite. A satellite connection uses broadband but does not require cable or phone lines. It connects to the internet through satellites orbiting the Earth. As a result, it can be used almost anywhere in the world, but the connection may be affected by weather patterns. Satellite connections are also usually slower than DSL or cable. We also have the 3G and 4G. 3G and 4G service is most commonly used with mobile phones, and it connects wirelessly through your ISP's network. However, these types of connections aren't always as fast as DSL or cable, and they will also limit the amount of data you can use each month, which isn't the case with most broadband plans. Now that you know about the different types of internet service, you can do some research to find out what ISPs are available in your area. Most ISPs offer several tiers of service with different internet speeds, usually measured in Mbps, or megabits per second. If you mainly want to use the internet for email and social networking, a slower connection around 2 to 5 Mbps might be all you need. However, if you want to download music or stream videos, you'll want a faster connection of at least 5 Mbps or higher. You'll also want to consider the cost of the service, including installation charges and monthly fees. Generally speaking, the faster the connection, the more expensive it will be per month. So, although dial-up has traditionally the least expensive option, many ISPs have raised dial-up prices to the same as broadband. This is intended to encourage people to switch to broadband. So, and again, dial-up is not recommended anymore unless it is your only option. So what are the hardware needed for you to have your internet connection? Number one, you need the modem or the modulator demodulator. So the type of internet access you choose will determine the type of modem you need. So for dial-up, you need a telephone modem. For DSL service, uses a DSL modem. For cable access, uses a cable modem. And satellite service uses a satellite adapter. Your ISP may give you a modem, often for a fee when you sign a contract, which helps ensure that you have the right type of modem. However, if you would prefer to shop for better or less expensive modem, you can choose to buy one separately. Another device that you need is the router. A router is a hardware device that allows you to connect several computers and other devices to a single internet connection, which is known as home network. Many routers are wireless, which allows you to create a home wireless network, commonly known as a Wi-Fi network. So you don't necessarily need to buy a router to connect to the internet. It's possible to connect your computer directly to your modem using an Ethernet cable. Also, many modems include a built-in router, so you have the option of creating a Wi-Fi network without buying extra hardware. So for your activity 1, what are the different things that you can do with the internet? Let's have another terminology, the cloud. So what is the cloud? You may have heard people using the term like the cloud, cloud computing, or cloud storage. But what exactly is the cloud? Simply put, the cloud is the internet. More specifically, it's all the things you can access remotely over the internet. When something is in the cloud, it means it's stored on internet servers instead of your computer's hard drive. So kung ga-store ka, dili sa imong hard drive or kanang sa storage sa imong device, but instead in the internet service, then you're using the cloud. So these are the reasons why you use the cloud. So some of the reasons to use the cloud are convenience and reliability. For example, if you've ever used a web-based email service such as Gmail or Yahoo Mail, you've already used the cloud. All of the emails in a web-based service are stored on servers rather than on your computer's hard drive. This means you can access your email from any computer with an internet connection. It also means you'll be able to recover your emails if something happens to your computer. So the most common reason to use the cloud is number 1, file storage. You can store all types of information in the cloud, including files and email. This means you can access these things from any computer or mobile device with an internet connection, not just your home computer. Dropbox and Google Drive are some of the most popular cloud-based storage services. Another reason is for file sharing. The cloud makes it easy to share files with several people at the same time. For example, you could upload several photos to a cloud-based photo service like Flickr or iCloud Photos, then quickly share them with friends and family. And another reason is backing up data. You can also use the cloud to protect your files. So, applications like Mozy and Carbonite automatically backs up your data to the cloud. This way, if your computer ever is lost, stolen, or damaged, you'll still be able to recover these files from the cloud. So for your activity number 2 for this week, why should we use the cloud? Okay, so let's proceed using a web browser. So a web browser is a type of software that allows you to find and view websites on the internet. There are many different web browsers, but some of the most common ones include Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, Safari, Microsoft Edge, and Mozilla Firefox. No matter which web browser you use, you'll want to learn the basic of browsing the web. So we will try to navigate different websites. We will try to use tab browsing and create bookmarks today. So for the most part, we will be using Google Chrome web browser to demonstrate how to use a web browser. So let's start first with the definitions and the names of the different parts of a web browser. So let's start with the URLs and the address bar. So this is the address bar. Kana asa bitaw nimo i-type ang address or URL sa website. So each website has a unique address. Again, remember URL. It's like a street address that tells your browser where to go to the internet. So when you type a URL into the browser's address bar and press enter on your keyboard, the browser will load the page associated with the URL. So let's have an example. So this is the address bar. So let's type and then press enter. Then you will be directed to this website. google.com. Or let's try another one. Let's say so, for example, we type in the wikipedia.org and this is their website. So we also have links. So whenever you see a word or phrase on the website that is colored or usually blue or underlined in blue, it's probably a hyperlink or link for short. You might already know how links work, even if you've never thought about them much before. So links usually is highlighted or underlined and click na nimo. Links are used to navigate the web. When you click a link, it will usually take you to a different web page. You may also notice that your cursor changes into a hand icon whenever you hover over a link. We also have the navigation button. The back and forward buttons allows you to move through websites you've recently viewed. You can also click and hold either buttons to see your recent history. The refresh button will reload the current page if a website stops working by using the refresh button. So the next is tab browsing. Many browsers allow you to open links in a new tab. You can open as many links as you want and they will stay in the same browser window instead of cluttering your screen with multiple windows. To open a link in a new tab, right-click the link and select Open Link in New Tab. The exact wording may vary from browser to browser. So this is an example, or let's open this one. And if we click, let's say English, right-click and then open link in a new tab. That's how you open in a new tab. Or to create a new tab, you can also click the plus button here to create a new blank tab. So blank lang siya. Just have to click this plus button. The advantages of using tab window is dili daghan ang dili bito daghan ang application na mo run sa imuhang Windows. Kinaka-tab lang siya tanan. No, so that's tab browsing. Then we have bookmarks and history. Bookmarks or favorites saves and organizes specific websites so you can revisit them again. Simply locate and select the star icon to bookmark the current website. So to bookmark a website, just click this star right here. And after you click the star button, you can press the done button or you can move it to a different folder. Okay, so that's how you bookmark a website. So finding information online, we use search engines. Examples of these search engines are Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Okay, so we have here Google. This is a search engine where you type your keywords. Example of a search engine is google.com. So we have here the search engines. When we use search engines, when we search something online, we usually use keywords. Example, you want to know about internet, so we might type the word internet and press enter. Then you will be directed to different web pages that contain the keyword internet. So that's how you use the search engines. So google.com is an example of a search engine, so you can use google.com as a reference for your researches. So I'll be seeing you guys next week and thank you for watching.